The Mangosteen Framework is officially 1 year old. Let's review how we've gone. It's official, we are 1 year old. Well, I started posting videos about 2 years ago. Mangosteen Original has been live in the market for about 12 months, and we can see how it's gone. So Mangosteen Original was released in July 2025, and it has achieved a 12-month performance of 74.8%, which is amazing. We also went live with Strategy's MSTY-WNTR rebalancing tool, and the strategy long-short strategy has achieved a 154% return since release in October 2025, which is phenomenal. And I think the MSTY-WNTR rebalancing approach is sitting at around the 50% mark as well, which is awesome. And our recent release of IREN-BTC rebalancing, released only in June 2026, so it's only been live for about 7 weeks now, has achieved a 38.7% return year to date. We need to put this into context because these results are really exciting. And remember, past performance does not predict or guarantee future performance, so keep that in mind. But 12 months of live market performance when compared to the top hedge funds of 2026, as of June 30, these are the top hedge funds that we can find on publicly available data, with the top hedge fund TLA China Focus achieving 96.1% return, which is a half-year return. So that's still pretty amazing. It's only a half-year return. But when we compare it to our strategies across this list of hedge funds, we look at Mangosteen strategy, long-short strategy would have been the top-performing hedge fund for 2026 year-to-date return. The MSTY-WNTR rebalancing tool would be 6th at around 54%, and the Bitcoin long-short strategy would be 9th. So we would take 3 places in the top 10. And IREN, while only being 6-7 weeks old, would have been a 8th placed hedge fund as well on an annualized basis, despite it only being in the market for 7 weeks. So that is pretty amazing. We do need to keep this in mind that this is only a simple return basis. It does not compare all the risk and leverage and strategy metrics that we are looking at, but just on a pure simple return basis, what we're doing at Mangosteen is comparable to the absolute top hedge funds on the planet, which I find to be fantastic. And I'm so proud of what we've been building. So with that being said, the price for Mangosteen Private is going to move up to $1,475 for a 2-year license. The extra year is basically just a free year. This will end up being the annual license cost in time from the $890 that it currently is. And this will be the last week that you can get the Mangosteen Private license for only $890. So if you're sitting on the fence, this is the time to buy. This is the opportunity to get in and get that 2-year license for $890. With that being said, let's get into our general update for the 20th of July 2026. We've got the bull case for a strong ISM print for Bitcoin, with employment remaining the only non-expansionary element of the ISM. Bitcoin showing typical bottoming signals around this time of the cycle, with the 4-year cycle looking pretty intact and normal to what we've seen in the past. Our bearish case is that while it's looking like it's the end, we do have shorter end interest rates being pushed up or compressed against the top end long rates by the Iran conflict, and that Iran conflict kicking back off, which does keep some short-term bearish activity possible. What's my position at the moment? So the Mangosteen Framework is short, but we're looking to go long soon. But probably the next 12 months, given where we are in the cycle, is not going to be super interesting. I don't expect any massive pumps like we've seen with a little bit of positive sentiment on X. I don't expect any massive pumps anytime soon, but we're going to be on the right side of the market, so that's great. So when we have a quick look at the general macro outlook, we can see that since the Iran conflict kicked off, short-term rates have been pushed up and compressed against the long-term rates while the Iran conflict is going up. So we've got 30-year rates at a little over 5%, and the 2-year rates have been climbing up into the low 4s. While we have the balance sheet sort of clicking off into positive momentum now, which is good. So, obviously the balance sheet is growing. That's sort of indicative of proxy for QE, which is great, while the M2 money supply is back up in growing territory. While we have expansionary ISM, with the only metric being non-expansionary being employment, thanks AI, and we have our general macro quality assessment showing that the macro quality is in a little bit of decline, and that is basically since Iran kicked off, with the cost of money coming up, thanks Iran again, and money availability coming down, while production was strong initially, which I think is that sort of boost from military spending, but that is tailing off again now. But obviously as the conflict ramps up, we might see that pop back up again. We don't know. But things in my mind are a little bit weak macroeconomically, most of it associated with the Iran war. The production is still strong, although employment is remaining reserved. And here we can see Bitcoin on its general cycle, and we can see that now we are through the majority of the normal typical bear market cycle, and we are sitting on at around the 200-week moving average, which is typically a good bottoming support line. So I'm looking to see if that breaks below or bounces back up again, but I'm suspecting that this is going to be a strong support line here, and we are looking to be around the bottom of the bear market, which is great. While we will prep to find ourselves in the accumulation zone shortly, somewhere around October this year, which is not far away. And as we can see here, we've got the Bitcoin price, and we've come down. The Mangosteen original framework remains bearish, and we can see that we have not yet gone bullish, which is probably a fair point. A lot of people have been a little bit too early, I think, and we could see some downwards, but I am broadly positive that we are nearing the bottom, and we could see an imminent flip into bullish territory. And the strategy MSTY-WNTR rebalancing tool is doing great. It's remaining bearish, and we've had continued bearish activity, and we've stayed on the right side of that market, and we can see that our performance has been phenomenal, which is great. And I would see this to flick bullish probably around a similar time as what Bitcoin does at the moment. So that's good. And here we have our IREN-BTC rebalancing tool, which has continued to do really, really well. This was released in the 1st of June, I believe, 2026, and has subsequently run and detected this bearish activity in IREN, suggesting that you'd want to sit in Bitcoin, or, according to the Mangosteen original framework, you'd be wanting to sit in cash, given that was also bearish. And that has captured a 38% decline in the price of IREN and kept us out of this horrendous bearish move, which has been fantastic. And I'm hoping that we're going to see this flag our first IREN flag since release, which would be great. But again, the Mangosteen framework is prevailing and looking after its followers really well. If you're wondering who I am just a humble Mangosteen with a background in finance, economics, accounting, and engineering, and professional experience across corporate strategy, finance, including time as head of investment and treasury for a multi-billion-dollar corporate. And I want to cultivate the next generation of active investors, from suits to steel caps to renegade financial education and strategy. If you've liked what you've seen here and you think the tools that I'm using are really, really powerful, which I obviously believe that they are, you can acquire a 2-year license at the moment through Mangosteen Private. Check out my website, mangosteen.global. There's a 5% discount when you pay in Bitcoin, and there's obviously a 14-day no questions asked refund policy. So if you buy it and you decide it's not for you, then feel free to email me and I will refund you, no worries. And disclaimer, this channel does not provide financial advice or any advice of any kind. Everything is for general information and entertainment purposes only. It does not consider your personal objectives, financial situations, or needs. Reference to any financial products are factual only and do not constitute recommendations. You must do your own research. Any investment or trading decisions you make are entirely your own. This is entertainment only. You are listening to a random Mangosteen on the internet.